You should hear what your mama has to say about it. Good morning, Mama, and happy day to all you fucking G's out there. Look, I'm putting together a very special channel here. It's called Bud Smoking 'em. And maybe once a month, or hopefully even once a week, we're going to put together some little episodes with some cool special effects. And the whole purpose is to take the consumer's voice, and we're going to start smoking these large entities and these large businesses with absolute facts that we've brought to them and that we're going to bring to the people of the world. So let's start. I had a really big episode that I really wanted to get together for this whole BP thing, but there's some facts that really need addressed that I cannot wait to put this together. Okay, first off, we need to plug that hole. We cannot let BP sit here and hope to use it as a recoverable well. Now, there are some reasons for that I'm going to get to. Number two, I'm really trying to figure out whether Obama has sold out, or whether he just doesn't understand what's actually happening here. So in essence, what I'm going to point out is the problem is not, and I'm going to get a lot of slack for this, I know, the problem is not the wildlife that's going to be harmed along these marshlands and in the wetlands of the Florida and Louisiana and the bayous of New Orleans and all of that, okay? Yes, it is a very, very important part of that particular ecosystem, and it being changed will, in a sense, affect the rest of the global ecosystem, if you will. Now, what's actually going on that seems to be being ignored, and I can't figure out why, every scientist knows this, and that's that oil is an insulator. Now, what we've got going on a mile beneath the surface of the ocean is a well that is spewing out oil particulates and spreading them throughout the ocean. It's already being proven that these are not all going to the top, that some of them, due to particular carbon ions hanging onto the side, have specific densities which allow them to be underwater. There are places along Florida coast that the beaches look beautiful, but you rub your hand along the sand and you pull up more crude than's floating on the water over in Mississippi. So, here's why we need to plug that well. Here's why that oil in the water is the most important factor that we need to deal with right away. We need to plug that well. I heard a great example on how to do that with shoving permanent magnetic material down deep into the well, which will then collect on the sides of the iron well pipe in the casing and successfully permanently close that well off. Now, there's another step that needs to be done to this to protect any of the pressure from the well, maybe eventually working its way through the little cracks that are going to exist in between these magnetic particulates. And that is the very top third of the well needs to be done in a very special wrapping of thermite/RDX for a very fast flash but controlled melt of the top of that well. That will permanently close that off. Now, BP is trying to put this that we need to drill relief wells, we need to be recovering. No, we need to shut it down. Okay, now please, again, forgive me for not being, having the cool touch screens like CNN and a few of those other places have. I'm working on getting some decent special effects and some video editing going on, but this has to be out right now. Okay, as you can see, we got a basic map of the globe. Now, here's the problem. Okay, this oil is insulating the ocean right here. Now, this particular spot, you couldn't have planned a worse spot to start insulating our waters. Okay, so what's going to happen here, what normally happens is these waters during the summer, they heat up, you have the hurricanes forming over here off the coast of Africa, and that delivers tropical energy into here, makes storms. As the season falls away, these waters get a flow back into the Atlantic, into the big pond, or the small pond, and cool off, okay? Now, what BP has done, this oil particulate sticking in there, that's going to allow this water to maintain the temperature that it's at. Whereas normally it'd be cooling about right here, it probably ain't going to start until clear out here. Now, evidence of this is already happening, okay? The first hurricane of the season, it didn't form over here, okay, where it's supposed to. It formed in the middle of the sea, all right? Now, why that's not rare, that's bad news, especially this early on in the season. Now, let's take another look at some evidence here. Let's take a look at the flooding that's been happening in Oklahoma and Texas in those areas, okay? Just the flash flooding, sporadic, out of the blue floods. While again, that's not unknown to happen, let's look at the science behind what could be causing it. We have this warm air that comes across, comes out of the Pacific Ocean and through our area over here in California and whatnot, and it goes across here with its air. Now what's happening during the summer is this water being a little bit warmer. It's going to be able to create some condensation in our clouds and carry some moisture up to meet this warm air, but it's actually cooler air than this moisture, and so we get our normal seasonal floods and whatnot. However, we've been having very different effects because we're getting warmer temperatures right here. We are having flash storms pop. Okay, are we starting to get the picture? When this temperature here is carried out here, all this up here starts melting. That's right. Water world, whatever you want to call it. This is not man, bear, pig. This is man, bear, pig. Okay, so call your senators, call everyone. Tell them BP can no longer try to recover that well. It needs shut down before it shuts the planet down. These are scientific facts. Okay, I'm sure some other scientists or meteorologists can give you the actual terminology and everything of what just got pointed out right here. Mr. Obama, don't ignore it. Tell your staff there's a new threat that we have been ignoring. And it may be too late, Mr. President, I'm not sure. If we can't stop this water from from being insulated by BP's negligence, the entire planet, not just this little coastline here, the entire climate of the planet will be drastically affected. Now, folks, I've got some, like I said, I've got some other great episodes in line. We're going to be smoking people from, or smoking entities from Sony to portions of our government to even very small businesses that want to treat consumers like we have no voice. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, our market system is the greatest system in the world. The free market works. However, all we've got right now is a bunch of constituents bitching to their buddies about it. Get the fuck up. Call these corporations, not their customer service numbers. Call their direct corporate line. You want Sony? 650-655-8000. You want to talk to Nolan Hassan Consumer Services at Sony and tell him we're tired of him ignoring the hacks and cheats and ways to stop our children from being predatorized upon? Call 650-655-9520. But that's all for another episode. What I want carried across, we need to plug that well. BP, you cannot be allowed to continue to try and make that a recoverable source of income. You've killed the planet. I don't know if we can come back from this. I hope so. I hope we can take Man Bear Pig and put him back in imagination land where he belongs. I'm Uncle Motherfucking Bud, and I just smoked BP. So what the fuck are you packing, bitch?